Tower Colliery is situated at the head of the Cynon Valley near Hirwaun. Like all the other deep coal mines in the South Wales valleys, Tower was closed due to the production of coal being uneconomic to mine. But the miners at Tower refused to believe this and were offered the opportunity to invest their redundancy payment into purchasing the mine. In 1996 I was commissioned by the Arts Council of Wales to produce a series of images for a book and exhibition documenting the lives of the Tower Colliery miners. The highlight of the project was having the opportunity to go underground. After travelling down to pit bottom, the coal face is some 5 miles away. It is reached by walking and also riding the conveyors. They don't stop, so you have to jump onto them and ride through the tunnels before reaching a platform where you stand up and jump off. It is frightening. Only wet cell helmet lamps are allowed, and there is some fluorescent lighting in some areas underground. Cameras with batteries, flash guns and light meters are banned. The camera I used throughout this project was a Fuji 6x9cm roll film camera. It has a mechanical shutter and no light meter. I was only allowed to use an aluminium tripod, which has to be packed in a case while I was in transit, just in case there was a chance of causing a spark. The exposures were long, up to 10 seconds, so I asked miners to stay perfectly still while I painted light onto them. Exposures were calculated from my knowledge of light. I did not know what I had until I processed the film. Production was halted at the coalface while I recorded the miners at work. This was costly for Tower Colliery, so I only had a minute or two to actually take the photographs. It was hard to photograph in a confined area. It was also hard to focus in a dark, damp and humid space. I wanted to record the characters at the pit. I decided to set up a portable studio in the lamp room and asked miners coming off their shift to pose in whichever way they wanted to. Using a soft umbrella studio light, I made a series of portraits that were also to be used in the book. The community around the colliery has always played an integral part of life in the valleys. The rugby match was one moment I wanted to capture. Rather than just photographing the game from a sports photographer's angle, I decided to picture the young girls playing on the fence and the game going on in the background. I used a subtle fill-in flash to illuminate the girls and a meter reading exposure for the rest of the photograph. The image was runner-up in Channel 4 series Year Zero. The judges accused me of photoshopping the ball in afterwards. This was not correct. I've always been taught to find and look for the decisive moment. I wanted photographs of the text writers and people I interviewed for the book. The Right Honourable Anne Clwyd MP went on a stay-down strike underground at Tower Colliery when the government initially closed the mine. She was the MP for Cynon Valley. I travelled up to the House of Commons to photograph her. She was extremely nice. There are not many places in the Commons where you're allowed to take photographs, so I found a spot in the corridor. I used the door to split the image, the one side representing her role in the House of Commons, the slightly larger part on the right representing her role in the Cynon Valley. Dr. Kim Howells MP was a researcher for the National Union of Mine Workers in the 1984-85 miners' strike. He later became an MP for Pontypridd. I went to his home in Pontypridd to take some photographs. A lot of the time I have no idea of how I'm going to capture the subject. He didn't mind me taking photographs, so I used the washing hanging on the line as a background for my image. Every time I visited Tower Colliery, the miners, like the other pits I've photographed over the years, were so friendly. Miners have a strong sense of comradeship. They develop a sense of humour in the pit. The Tower miners managed to buy their own pit and made a profit until it had worked all the viable coal seams. It closed in January 2008.